Hi, you're watching Quaint and Curious Volumes. My name is James. Today I want to talk about reading challenges. Have you ever done a reading challenge? And I'm not talking about the Goodreads reading challenge where you say, I'm going to read 5 books this year, and it tells you you're 4 books behind schedule to read 5 books this year. I'm talking about the ones with multiple prompts, the ones where you get to download a PDF file and then tick the little box, which is, I think we can all agree, quite satisfying when you've completed that prompt. I used to do the Book Riot Read Harder reading challenge. I did it from 2020 through 2023. I failed in 2023, and I want to talk a bit about this. If you're not familiar, the Book Riot Read Harder challenge, I'll read the description from their website. The challenge is made up of 24 tasks, an average of 2 per month. That math works out, by the way. That invite readers to explore formats, genres, and perspectives that might go beyond their reading comfort zones. How you approach Read Harder is up to you. You can read 1 book per task, or count 1 book for multiple tasks. The point of the challenge isn't to do the thing one particular way, but to push yourself to diversify your TBR. That's to be read list. We hope you'll hold yourself accountable, share your share your thoughts, and discover a whole bunch of wonderful books you might not have otherwise chosen for yourself. And as always, have fun with it. So, I did this in 2020 because I wanted to have fun with it. And I was doing a lot more reading than I had been previously. It was 2020. Probably you might have been doing the same. And I wasn't on my I'm going to read a bunch of dusty old classics business yet. So I was reading all kinds of stuff. And, I got the 2020 Book Riot Read Harder challenge. I did some things. I listened to an audiobook of poetry. It exposed me to Rupi Kaur. No, thank you. I read the last book in a series. That was one of the prompts. Why? Why is that the last? But most of the prompts were pretty good. Read a graphic memoir. I read Fun Home. That was good. Read a mystery where the victim is not a woman. Okay, I read The Other Americans by Laila Lalami. Very good book that I would not have come across were it not for that. So I did the challenge again in 2021. It was also a good series of prompts, mostly. One thing I did notice was the proportion of prompts that were specifically focused on identity groups expanded, meaning racial or gender or sexuality. It expanded from 6 in 2022, 10 in 2021, and it kept going up for a couple of years after that. And that's fine. Part of the idea of diversifying what you're going to read is you're going to read things from different people. So, there were some good ones in there, but still also some kind of silly prompts. Some that were, in my mind, a little bit baroque, such as read a children's book that centers a disabled character but not their disability. Well, for one thing, I'm an adult. Why do I want to read a children's book? I don't know. But I did. Or read a genre novel by an Indigenous, First Nations, or Native American author. Okay, I did that, and that was a good idea. The book I chose, The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones, not very good, to be honest. It was not really a book. It was a screenplay that called itself a novel. Anyway, 2021, still pretty good. 2022, I did it again. I completed it. I succeeded in my Read Harder challenge for 2022. I read the prompts. I selected books. And as I read them, I got to tick the little box on the PDF. Very satisfying. I think you can agree. I think we can all agree about that. And then once I'd finished them all at the end of my 24 tasks, I said, okay, well, I don't have to do any more of those read harder challenges. See, this is what was happening was I was finding that I already had things I wanted to read and that I was trying to get through some of these. Or I was looking at prompts like read a book by a disabled author and saying, well, I want to read Paradise Lost. Milton was blind when he wrote it. I'll put that on there. I mean, it is diversifying it, but I was going to read that anyway. And John Milton is as undiverse as they get. 2023, I said, okay, I'm going to do it again. I did not learn my lesson that I already know what I want to read. I don't need a bunch of prompts. Things like read a completed web comic. Why? Read a cookbook cover to cover. Why? Why would you do that? You may as well read a Chilton's auto repair manual for a 1989 Buick Century. Cookbooks are good. They can be well written. I've got some great cookbooks. And I don't read them cover to cover because they're not intended to be read cover to cover. I found that the number of what I call the dumb prompts were just kind of expanding, increasing. So this is why I started to drift away from this and why I only did half of the prompts in 2023 and said, I'm not going to do this in 2024. Read a cookbook from cover to cover. So every single page I'm going to read, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to read over and over again, serve over boiled rice and garnish with chopped cilantro. Why? Why would I do that? So, no thank you. In 2024, I found that the number of kind of dumb prompts expanded, such as read a middle grade horror novel. That is not reading harder to me. That would be reading that book just so I could tick the box on the PDF. And look, that is a very satisfying thing. I think we can all agree. But I don't think that I'm reading harder by reading a Goosebumps book. I'm sure they're fun, but no thank you. Read a cozy fantasy book. This is not reading harder. Most of the people doing this thing, they've already read Legends and Lattes. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, here's probably the worst one on the 2024 Read Harder Reading Challenge list. Read a book by an author with an upcoming event, virtual or in person, and then attend the event. I have to go out of the house so I can tick the box on the PDF? I mean, that is very satisfying, we can all agree. But why should I have to go somewhere? No, thank you. So, there's another thing that disappointed me about the Read Harder challenges. It was something that didn't work for me. It was not just the dumb prompts, but it was the expanding number of prompts that were for children's books and young adult books. When I started it, there were 3 YA or middle grades books. And in 2024, the year that I decided I'm not going to do this anymore, there were 5 YA books or middle grade books. And there were 2 for comic books or manga. So out of 24, there were 7 that are not really grown-up books. Some of them are good. Typically the ones that are read something of this genre. Read a book that intimidates you. That was a good one. Read a book by a woman that's over 500 pages. That was a good one. Read the book that's been on your TBR the longest. That was a good one too. But they got to be more dumb ones that I found myself only reading the books that I could tick the little checkbox on the PDF, which was satisfying, but reading the book was not satisfying. So I said, no thank you to Read Harder 2024. And I thought that I was satisfied with my thoughts on that, and I would just come on here and say a little bit to my imaginary YouTube friends and ask, what's your relation to these reading challenges? Do you do them? Do you like them? Do you get much out of them? For me, what I got out of them was outweighed by my annoyance at doing them. And that's me. And that's fine. And of course, I don't have to do it. But I can come on and say, well, I am not doing it. I thought I was done. But then I discovered something called the PopSugar Reading Challenge. Apparently, this has been going on for a while. I've only looked at the prompts for 2024. And they put the Book Riot Read Harder challenge to shame when it comes to pointless prompts. Some of them are quite good. Read a Bildungsroman. That's good. Read a book by a blind or visually impaired author. That's good. Could be John Milton if you want. Read a book by a deaf or hard of hearing author. Okay, sure, you can learn some things about that. But then a book that was published 24 years ago. Why? A book with the word leap in the title. Why? A book with 24 letters in the title? Who is this for? That's my question. Do you do these things? Do you know? Who is this for? Who is going to get something out of reading a book because it starts with the title starts with the letter X? Anyway, clearly these are not made for me. Are they made for you? Tell me why. I'm genuinely curious. I don't, despite my tone perhaps, I don't judge people for using what they need to find new things to read. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.